What's up, guys? I am Kate with TypeMatch, and today I'm going to talk about how to use MBTI to fix your relationship. Now, the first disclaimer is that we're not going to really use MBTI. We're going to use typology to work on your relationship and not truly like fix it. So sorry for the little bit of a clickbaity title, but not a lot of people know the term typology. So I have to just use MBTI nomenclature, but typology is, the mechanisms behind the MBTI front of, INFP, ENFJ, all these names that we have. Anyway, other disclaimer is that MBTI/typology cannot truly fix your relationship, although it can be an amazing tool in your tool belt. And the way that it can be is that it's an awesome way to identify your weak points and put a name to like what you're noticing and what's really going on. Because once you've identified the source, it's much easier for you to notice like, oh, this is another one of those things that's coming up. This is from like my weaknesses, my weak functions, my demon functions, if you will, like Dave and Chan call them in the objective personality system. So basically there are 8 cognitive functions. We all have all of them, but they're just in a different order, and what order they fall in determines what your strengths and weaknesses are and the role that they play in your mind. So when I talk about demon functions, I'm talking about your lower functions. And these are ones that we really like to push off to other people to take responsibility for. So even if you don't know your personality type, what is something that everybody in your life, people who care about you, or maybe people who are annoyed with you, are saying you really need to do this. Like, you really need to get organized. You really need to make a plan. Okay. You really need to stop feeling so guilty and letting your guilt control you. Like whatever it is that you keep hearing over and over, and you're like, I know, and then you don't do it. What is it in your life that you know you need to do that would basically solve a lot of your problems that you can't get yourself to do? That is probably your demon that you're dealing with. And you like to push off that responsibility to other people in your life, which, if you're in a relationship, will fall on your partner. If you have NI as a low demon function, you'll be like, well, you need to make a plan for how things are going to be, and then let me know it, because I need to feel secure in my future. And this is extremely hypocritical. The demon function is always like a hypocritical one, because it's like, well, you need to do it, but I'm not going to do it. So if you're in a relationship with someone who has the same demon struggles as you, it's just going to be like, well, you do it. No, you do it. Okay. And then it's just not going to get done. And this is going to cause a lot of stress and conflict because both of you are feeling insecure. On the other end of the spectrum, if you have a demon function that's different from your partner's, maybe you just don't understand. Puppy, no. You just don't understand what their problem is, why they're being so weird about this thing, why they won't just do it, Why do you have such an issue with this thing that's so easy for me? And it's important to realize that compatibility doesn't mean that you're not going to have conflicts in the relationship. That's not what compatibility is about. It's about your ability to problem solve as a team, and to, be compassionate and vulnerable. Puppy, I gave her one of those Kong balls with peanut butter in it, and I thought that would keep her busy, but it's not. So it's distracting me from my video. No! Okay. So it's not about not having any conflict in the relationship. There's this big idea in MBTI that if you meet your golden pair, then you guys aren't going to have any issues in the relationship. It's all just going to be just idealistic future where you understand each other perfectly, so much so that you don't even need to speak any words. They naturally understand you. But this isn't realistic at all. Conflicts are going to arise in the relationship. You're imperfect people and life is imperfect. And it's actually not a good sign if you have 0 conflicts. I heard a statistic from Jordan Peterson. He was citing another study where it was something like if the positive to negative interactions in a relationship are too close, like, 5 positive interactions per like 5 negative interactions, well, the relationship isn't going to last. But if it's also too much of a gap, I believe the ratio was, if it was more than 11 positive interactions for 1 negative interaction, the relationship also won't last. And his explanation for this was that in a relationship, you want somebody that you can contend with. And you're basically going to get bored if you just agree on everything all the time and the person isn't providing any challenge for you. So conflict is important in a relationship as well. But how do we work as a team to solve those problems together? Are we accepting of each other's weaknesses to where the person can be vulnerable in front of us? And MBTI is a great tool for us to be able to be vulnerable with each other, because we can identify the source and start to be like, oh, that's why you do this. This is why you have so many problems with like other people's feelings and feeling guilty and that just like halting your progress. It's because of this. Okay, so when you have a sort of like attack of your demons, we know like what's going on, and then we can respond to it instead of reacting to it, and respond to each other, communicate what's going on, and work through it as a team. And instead of pushing our demons off into the other person for them to figure out and do, asking them for help, guidance, just support while they work through it, and compassion to them. Like, hey, like this is a really difficult thing for me. I know this is an easy thing for you and you don't see like what the issue is, but for me, this is so hard when this happens and it makes me freak out. So I need you to understand that, like, when this comes up, that's what's going on. And we need to like take a moment and recognize that so that we can respond to it. So MBTI is like a tool that you can use for troubleshooting. It's not going to solve all of your problems, but it should be, I'm using the word tool a lot here, but whatever. A tool of like understanding and compassion. If it's, pushing you away from people, then you're not using it, you're not wielding it correctly. So yeah, I think that's the whole video today. You guys should check out TypeMatch app on Android and iOS. It is an app where you can meet friends and form relationships based on MBTI compatibility. I'll link that below.